Welcome to Out of Bounds. I am your host, James Skrmetta. Thank you for tuning in on this Friday. I know we're so close to the weekend. I'm just getting you a head start. This is like the pregame to the pregame. Fun fact, you know what, doing all these shows, I do 4 days worth of content. What I noticed is I don't have a lot of shirts. I'm wearing, for the people that see the videos, aren't just listening to the podcast, I only have like 10 shirts. I got some wrestling shirts, some Southern Miss shirts, and I got this pink shirt. So if you're watching the video version, enjoy this pink shirt. If you're listening to the podcast version, then you already know this, but I'll tell the folks at home anyways. We are now officially on iTunes. We are so on iTunes it hurts. We're on iTunes featured. If you search Out of Bounds with the first one that comes up, it's searchable, it's downloadable, it's subscribable, it's free, it's all kind of stuff. So go on iTunes. It's just another way to ingest all of this content goodness that I'm giving you. Today, we are going to talk about the upcoming NCAA games. We've got some big ones. We're going to talk about, of course, the MLS MINUTE. We're also going to talk NFL. And I'm going to give you winners, chicken dinners. I've got like 8 picks for y'all. I've got college picks. I've got the 5 NFL picks. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. We usually do, well, we don't, but I do a show with Tennessee beat writer Corey Gunkel that usually goes on Thursdays. And this week we couldn't do it because, no lie, he lost his microphone. So if you're wondering where Skrmetta and Gunk is, that's what happened to it this week. He lost his microphone. It'll be back next week. Or I'll have to buy him one and send one up there. But let's get right into it. This week, NCAA, a lot of hot, sticky action. And a lot of stuff starting to come together. The first week is the week where people are just getting out of their system. They're excited for football. They're, pumped up to see their team. They're pumped up to wear their colors. They're pumped up to do all that stuff. And no one really knows exactly what to expect. The second week is when upsets happen. You see the real teams. First week you play a bunch of schlubs. Second week you play teams that are good, and they come out and they're teams drop and teams you see them for what they really are, and nothing is more of a case of that than Auburn, right? Just like Auburn. First game is well, they beat Louisville, okay, whatever. Well, let's see what happens. Then all of a sudden Jacksonville State rolls in. And you're well, all right, maybe Auburn just sucks, and that's why they dropped to 18. This week is when we're going to figure out who are major contenders, in my humble opinion. This week is the SEC West Championship between Alabama and the University of Mississippi. The SEC Championship is played in Atlanta, but this year it'll be played in Tuscaloosa, because whoever wins this game is going to win the West, and whoever wins the West is going to win the SEC Championship. So ipso facto, this game is huge. 8 p.m. ESPN. Number 2 Bama against Ole Miss. Ole Miss isn't ranked as high as I think they should be. On my top 5, which comes out every Monday, I had Ole Miss as the second best team in the country. I have them above Alabama because I think Ole Miss is playing better than Alabama. I think Chad Kelly is playing, I'm not going to say the best quarterback in the nation, because I believe that is Cody Kessler and Mr. Rosen out in UCLA. But he's definitely playing as the best quarterback in the SEC. Coker for Alabama has not impressed at all. The only person that's impressed me on Alabama is Derrick Henry. And if they get in a shootout situation, because make no mistake about it, Ole Miss has the talent to compete with Alabama. That's where the big gap was for a few years there. A few years there, the gap was Alabama's getting these recruiting classes. The rest of the SEC is not. So when it comes down to a head-on, one-on-one, talent-on-talent scenario, Bama would just push you in the dirt and smash you. Well, now that Ole Miss has pulled in a few recruiting classes, totally legally, might I add, wink, they can compete with Alabama. They can compete now on just a talent, physical level. And that was a huge advantage for Alabama. Alabama was the guys lined up against you that said, hey, we're the big guys. We're the blue chippers, okay? We're the 5 stars. Y'all are the 3 stars. You give us 4 quarters, you might win the first 2 quarters. By the last quarter, we're going to kick your ass. And that's what Bama was. Now it's not so much. Now, Robert Nkemdiche isn't scared of anybody. He's the big guy on the field. Chad Kelly's the best quarterback in the game, in the Ole Miss Bama game. So, Laquan Treadwell, probably the best receiver in the game. All of a sudden, a lot of those check marks on the battle, the one-on-one battle, a lot of those check marks are going to Ole Miss. It's in Tuscaloosa. Ole Miss beat Bama last year. It's really hard to win in Tuscaloosa, and it's really hard to beat Nick Saban twice. So, to me, I'm surprised the line is as big as it is. The line last time I saw it was like 6 or 7, depending on where you get it. Ole Miss getting points, and for a team that's put up 140 points in 2 games, that's a lot. For a team that beat Alabama last year with Bo Wallace as the quarterback, now an upgrading quarterback, just like I said in the preseason. Ole Miss arguably, not even arguably, I'll take that back. Ole Miss is a better team than they were last year. And I don't know if Bama is. I don't know if Coker really is that much of an upgrade over Blake Sims. I don't know. I thought he was going to be, but he's looked confused. He looks like a guy who just got into the offense. So that's the huge game, enormous game. If Ole Miss wins, they have a huge burden on their shoulders because they have to then carry the SEC. If Ole Miss beats Bama, it's like, all right, well, we have a direct path to the SEC championship, to the playoffs. We cannot screw this up. And that's tough. That's tough for a team that's not been in that situation. Bama's been there. I think people are comfortable saying, Bama, you be the SEC representative. Don't lose this season. If you do lose, just lose once. Get in the playoffs and give us a shot to win. I don't know if people feel that comfortable with Ole Miss, but 8 o'clock in Tuscaloosa, we'll know something. The SEC faithful will know what basket to put their eggs in if they want another crystal ball at the end of the season. Or is it even a crystal ball anymore? It's like a big trophy now. That's right. Other big games, Georgia Tech against Notre Dame. Notre Dame is still a top 10 team, ranked-wise. They lost their best player, Malik Zaire. They won on a Hail Mary last week. Georgia Tech is steamrolling people. Georgia Tech, you know it's coming, right? You know the triple option, all that stuff's coming. I think Georgia Tech's a much better team than people give them credit for. I think that if Malik Zaire was there, this game would be really close. This game would be a true 2 top 10 teams going at it. But I don't think Notre Dame can keep winning without Zaire. I think Georgia Tech's going to beat them. I think Georgia Tech will jump to where they should be and where they'll finish in the season, probably in that 7 to 9 spot. It's kind of where I see them right now. Kind of like Oklahoma. They're not a true threat, but I think they're good enough to be a perennial BCS team and what you used to consider like a BCS team. Now it's all crazy with the playoffs. But they're a team that I can see that plays a big ball game, beats a good ranked team, has a good season, and that's where I put Georgia Tech. So I'm taking Georgia Tech over Notre Dame. Then we got BYU, UCLA. BYU is snuck into the top 20. They're number 19. UCLA's top 10. UCLA also has a Heisman candidate quarterback, and he's still just 18 years old. So there's 2 storylines here. One storyline is, will he stumble? Will this kid look mortal? Or will he continue to be the man? And we've seen freshmen come in. This isn't 2005, where we haven't seen this. We've seen freshmen come in, Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston. We've seen them come in and dominate and bring their team to national championships, BCS games, bowl games, 10-win seasons, what have you. But we haven't seen like a true pocket passer, old-looking quarterback do it. And that's what Rosen is. So this is a big game for him. Every game's a big game for him, but especially against these ranked teams, especially against teams that pose a threat, because everyone wants to see the next Tom Brady, the next Peyton Manning, and he's got a chance to do it. That's why this is a big game. Next big game, number 18 Auburn, number 13 LSU. I said this last Monday. Show me another team that was ranked in the top 6, wins their first 2 games, and almost falls out of the top 25. Crazy arc for Auburn. If you're Auburn, yeah, you went to overtime at Jacksonville State, but you're 2-0. You can't get better than 2-0. and they went from 6 to 18. Now, I don't think they should be in the top 10 after almost losing to Jacksonville State at home. But 18, that's a drop. I mean, you're talking about one step ahead of BYU. If they beat number 13 LSU, who just won a huge game up in Starkville, all of a sudden now Auburn's flip-flopping all over the place. They're like Nastia Lukin. One day they're 6, one day they're 18. If they beat LSU, you'd think they'd probably be around 10. They're everywhere. People don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what would happen. I don't know what I would do if, come Saturday, Jeremy Johnson runs out there for 110 yards rushing and 250 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Monday, I'm coming in here, I'm freaking out. You know, what do I say? This is a guy who's looked like garbage for 2 weeks, and if he went and did it to LSU, the scenes, man. Absolute scenes. We're going to go ahead and give the picks. I usually give these picks on Skrmetta and Gunk, but the Rogue microphone is kind of upsetting that. The way I've been doing it is I've been giving 3 college picks. I gave you all my schedule for how I bet on NFL games, and I bet on way more NFL games than I do on college games because I like to watch the games I bet on. That's what got me into a degenerate gambler, because watching the games was so much more fun when I had money on the line. If I'm just betting on random games I'm not watching, that's not any fun. You know, that's what fun is that? That's like going to the horse track, betting on the horses, and then just turning around and having someone else tell you what happened. Like, why would I do that? Why would I pay to go see the movie and not see the movie? So, since I don't watch, you can't watch every college game. There's 1,000 of them on. So I always bet on like primetime games and, you know, ranked teams and stuff like that. Make it more exciting. Like bowl season, we're betting on all the bowl games. Regular season, we don't go crazy. So I'm giving you 3 college games, and but this week I'm actually giving you an option because I liked a bunch of games. So I'm giving you a flex game. I'm giving you 3 for sures, and then a 4th one if you want to sub it in for another one or whatever. Here we go. Faux show. Georgia Tech -2.5. I already talked about this. Notre Dame lost their quarterback. The line's a little funny because Georgia Tech is ranked 14, Notre Dame is ranked 8. So if you're looking at it like, whoa, why is the 8th ranked team the underdog? Because it's a trap bet. Trust me, take Georgia Tech. They're going to steamroll. Next game, USC -10 against Stanford. I love this pick. This is my pick of the week. All right. Stanford's a really weird situation because Stanford is living off of Andrew Luck and Jim Harbaugh, who are not there. You know, everyone's like, oh, but they're good, right? They're Stanford. No, they were good because they had the best college quarterback maybe ever at a school. I mean, you know, 4 years of Andrew Luck. And Jim Harbaugh, who was a very successful coach everywhere he's been, went to the Super Bowl, all kind of stuff. Yeah, you had 4 years there where it was pretty awesome. You were top 10 team. Guess what, man? They ain't there. And Brian Shaw is not Jim Harbaugh. And whoever their quarterback is not Andrew Luck. So they're kind of running off of their name, which who would have thought Stanford would ever do that? But they're kind of running off of their name, and USC is the real deal. Holyfield, brother. USC is one of those teams that ever since Leinart and Carroll and all those guys left, it was like, all right, give them a few weeks, then they'll implode, and then go back to California and shred gnar. Nah, that ain't how it is anymore. Sark's got it all figured out except his horrible drinking problem. Cody Kessler might be the best player in college football. That team can put up points. They're going to blow through people until they start playing, you know, UCLA and Oregon's and all those people. But Stanford's going down. USC's going up. I think there's going to be a blowout. Love this game. USC -10. I would take it as far as like 13.5. I don't know why you would get a line that inflated. Maybe if you're betting with your grubby uncle. But I would take USC -10 for sure. Next game. Here's the flex. I just told you I like to bet on primetime games, right? Everyone's going to be watching Ole Miss Bama. So why not put a little cabbage on the line? Why not put a little greenery around your TV? So I'll give you it. I'm going with Ole Miss +7. I think it's honestly, I think it's kind of a trap bet. It's a lot of points to give a team that scored almost 200 points in the last 2 games. I think people are kind of high on Ole Miss, and so they're throwing some points at them. Whatever. I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I think Ole Miss is playing the better football. These two teams play tough. Ole Miss has that Ole Miss has the belief that they can beat Bama. Bama has the chip on their shoulder that Ole Miss just beat them. Okay, immovable object, impenetrable force or whatever. Bam, hitting. I could see this being that like a 3-point kind of game. Smash mouth, 3 to 4 point game. I'll take the point. 7 points is a lot. That's a blowout. If Chad Kelly goes down there and throws picks all over the shop, could be a long day for me. But I will take Ole Miss plus 7. Now, if you don't want to bet that game, if you're like, hey man, I ain't about the SEC. I'm watching other games. I'm not watching the primetime SEC game. Okay, no problem, brother. Here's the other flex. Cal minus 7 against Texas. Texas is a mess. Texas is the new New York Jets of college football. They just fired their AD. Charlie Strong is sweating under his turtleneck. They can't fire people fast enough. ESPN has a whole channel devoted to Texas, and they suck. They're awful. They've been awful. They're changing quarterbacks. They're changing all kind of stuff. Cal puts up points for fun. Texas is in a flummox. Oh, you can take that word to the bank. Tell them James sent you. Take Cal minus 7 if you don't want to take Ole Miss. If you're feeling froggy, take all 4. It's not my money. But that's the 4 college picks I'm giving you. I went 0-3 last week. Whoops. I didn't see it coming. All right? Like I said Monday, what are you going to do? People have bad weeks. Don't call it a comeback whenever I'm on top. And you went to some hack, paid $1,000 for the season picks, and you're below 500. I'm about to be prime time this week. I'm about to be over 500. Write it down. Now, let's do everyone's favorite segment. My favorite segment. I only do the show to get to this. The show's a sandwich, right? 2 pieces of bread and then the meat. The meat is America's sport of the future, the MLS Minute, presented to you by me. Now, let's do this. Let me get my scarf right here, which I think my dog laid on, because number 1, it smells like garbage, and number 2, when I put it on, my neck starts to itch. So, hero alert, 3 weeks in a row. Here we go. The MLS Minute. Play the music, please. 2 things that will never die in America. Racism, unfortunately, and the New York FC's playoff hopes. NYFC and Toronto FC played in front of 25,000 people in the Bronx. I predicted it would be close with a 3-2 outcome favoring Toronto, and now I look like an idiot. Goals from Patrick Mullins and some young guy named Frankie Lampard gave New York FC a 2-0 win. NYFC has got to figure out what they're going to do. They have a problem. Pirlo, Lampard, they're 2 big names. They can't play on the pitch at the same time. Poku, they're so much better when Poku's in the game. David Villa is better, everyone's better. But they don't like to play Poku all game. He's still emerging. And you can't sit Lampard and Pirlo, they're your big money heavyweights, they're your box office draws. So what do? You got to make the playoffs, right? I don't know. I do not know. I tweeted my man Jimmy Conrad about it. He hasn't gotten back to me. I'm not holding it against him, but I'm losing sleep, Jimmy. What do I say every week on this show? Besides some mindless dribble, I say New England is out here winning for fun. And a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Final saw New England put a Boston beating on New York Red Bulls 2-1. I guess that's not really that much of a beating. Goals from Mike Grella and a guy I'm getting very, very familiar with, Diego Fagundes, gave the home fans something to cheer about. Fagundes has scored in 4 straight matches. Last time someone scored that much was J.C. Chazet back in circa 1999. Finally, in the nightcap, Montreal and the Quakes of San Jose played to a NyQuil-like 1-1 draw. Kyle Becker scored his first career MLS goal to seal the draw and render a Chris Wondolowski goal absolutely useless. This is the Friday edition, so of course Wednesday only has a few games. This week it was 3, so that is your condensed MLS Minute, but an MLS Minute nonetheless. And what a fantastic MLS Minute it was. Now, let's look at the clock. Oh my God, this is a fast-paced show. Can't believe we're moving at the speed of light over here. Goodness gracious. Well, it is Friday. Y'all don't want to be sitting around listening to a podcast or watching a video all day on your Friday. Crack one open. Get to boozing. We'll talk NFL. All right. This is recorded on Thursday, so I have no idea what happened in the Broncos-Chief game. But I will say I'm expecting, by the time you watch this show, the Chiefs to be 2-0. Didn't mean that to rhyme, but maybe I did. Now, Monday saw two games, but one was awful. One was a good game. The Eagles-Falcons was a great game, and the Eagles, I watched every second of the game. I was really excited. Number one, because my DraftKings team was anchored by like 4 Eagles. And I laid on my back, and they all walked by and just took big dumps all over my chest. Because they didn't do anything. Nelson Aguilar. Bum. But anyways, when I was watching the game, it's like at one point, every single Philadelphia Eagles fan was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait, this is Sam Bradford? That's not Sam Bradford. That's the same guy from St. Louis. So yeah, well, that's Sam Bradford. I was like, but I thought he was supposed to be the best player ever and supposed to get us to the Super Bowl. It's like, well, he's actually only won 20 games in his career and only played 52% of games that he possibly could have played in. Oh, you mean the hurt Sam Bradford from St. Louis? Yeah, that's who y'all got. Y'all traded Nick Foles for him. Why did we do that? I don't know. It's like before the season, all the fans were saying, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. 80% of the media had Eagles either in their NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Go find me someone who's got Go find me an NFC Championship game without the Eagles in it. I haven't seen it from any media. I think I had the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I had them losing to the Packers. Right? Yeah. And everyone all of a sudden went, oh, shoot. Sam Bradford can't get us to the Super Bowl? He can't even get through the regular season. I even did it. Like the first possession, I'm sitting there going, oh, I remember this guy. I remember this guy real well. This is the bust from Oklahoma. And that's what it is. I mean, Chip Kelly is... No one is more consistently overrated than Chip Kelly teams. It's like everyone thinks he's some super genius. And so they say, all right, we'll project you to be up there. Eagles have been to the playoffs once since he's been there. They lost to the Saints at home on a last-second field goal. That's it. He's 0-1 in the playoffs, and that's it. I mean, at some point, it's like, hey, Chip, you got to win or you gone. And for especially the way Chip's doing it, he's cutting everybody. He's bringing in his players. He's doing his thing. In my opinion, Chip will be coaching back in college within 3 years. He's just not going to get it done in Philadelphia. And I think he's going to wear out his welcome. Sam Bradford is not going to win you the Super Bowl. You're not going to convince me that Sam Bradford is going to go against Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, against these kind of quarterbacks in the playoffs and win. It's just not going to happen. You got, not to mention if he even plays the whole season. That's something he's never done. You're asking him, let's say the Eagles win 13 games throughout the year and win the Super Bowl. Okay? 13 wins. That's almost as many wins as Sam Bradford's had in his whole career in the same season. I understand the teams are different, but it's the same player. Like Sam Bradford, I think has 21 wins or something his entire career. And you want him to roll off 13 wins this year? You want him to be healthy all year? Sam Bradford hasn't been healthy all year since college. And he wasn't even healthy every year in college. He got hurt in college. I think Eagles fans just got hit in the face with a hard dose of reality. 2 things Eagles fans just thought. Maybe we shouldn't have fired Andy Reid. And maybe Sam Bradford's not the guy. Boom. That's the things. Andy Reid every year is the same thing, right? Got y'all the Super Bowl, but people got kind of tired of it. They brought in Chip Kelly. Hell yeah, Chip. Drive the car, baby. Well, I'm going to drive an economic car. No problem, man. Get yourself an economic car. Hey, Chip, you're getting a lot of tickets. Why don't you quit driving like that? No, I'm a really good driver. All right, Chip. Hey, Chip, you keep getting tickets. No, I swear I'm a good driver. At some point, people are going to be like, Chip, you ain't a good driver, brother. You just ain't a good driver. That's what happened. I thought you were. I'll let you pick out your own car, and you keep getting these tickets. And I can't keep paying on these tickets. So the Eagles, I think, that's not time for a dumpster fire. They're not Texas. But I think it's time for people to be like, all right, maybe we should take our expectations from the Super Bowl and bring it down to, like, I don't know, a division title, something like that. But that's what I saw from Monday night. I'm interested to see how Philly bounces back, because they will win games, you know. But it's like, well, how good can they be? So I'm interested to see that, if Sam Bradford can turn it on. Next, Peyton Manning. Good God. Like I said, I had no idea what happened Thursday night. But, man, his time is done. His time is over. Mr. I can't feel my fingers can barely throw a football 40 yards. His arm strength is, no lie, probably pretty close to mine. Just within 40 yards, we money. After 40 yards, we're just kind of throwing it up there, hoping something happens. I feel bad because he's going out kind of on a limp, and he probably should have hung it up a while ago. We'll do much more on Peyton Manning, you know, his career, kind of looking back at what he was and all that. So we'll have more discussions on that, because it was a really interesting topic, because he's a guy that it's interesting because off the field he's something, on the field he's something, in the playoffs he's something, in the regular season he's something. There's a lot of different pieces to what this big brand is. And I will discuss that in great length. Not today, though. We're running up against the clock. But Peyton Manning's time is done. It was reaffirmed in that first week. I don't know what happened last night, but it could be reaffirmed again. Denver, y'all about to start rebuilding. Y'all might want to start drafting some quarterbacks or finding some backups or something. My picks. No, we got the Saints, of course. Before the picks, we got the Saints. Saints are playing Tampa Bay in the Dome last year. Saints lost a lot of games in the Dome. 5. Can't do that this year. Cannot do that this year if you want to be a playoff team, compete for the division, go 10 wins like I said. Have to beat Tampa Bay. They can, of course. They should. But who knows? You know, Sunday was kind of telling with Mark Ingram and what we talked about on Monday. I like the Saints to beat Tampa Bay, beat them bad. Jameis Winston still a project. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, you don't know if he can play, which is good because New Orleans has trouble covering receivers. So just having Vincent Jackson out there to worry about is much better than having Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. Let's get into my picks here. I give you 5. Don't forget, I give you 5. And then we do it 2 morning games, 1 afternoon game, Sunday night game, Monday night game. Every single week. That's exactly how I bet. And every game I give you, I actually bet on. I put my money. I would not give you a game that I don't put my money on, because then I'm just like willy-nilly throwing stuff out there. Why would I tell you to bet on a game if I'm not going to bet on it? You know, a lot of chumps do that, and you're wondering, like, man, you must be losing a lot of money. And they're like, man, I'm not putting money on these games. You like, go play a free game of poker. People play crazy. Go play with $100 on the line. People rake their chips back a little bit. So here we go. Morning games. Patriots -1 against Buffalo. I will admit this could be a trap game. Patriots looked great first week. Buffalo looked really good, but, I mean, you know. The Patriots basically a pick'em with a team that Tom Brady dominates. Buffalo, this new identity, this Bill the Bully, Rex Ryan identity. I'm not buying in yet. They embarrassed Andrew Luck. I will admit that all day of the week. But I'm not buying in yet. I'm taking Tom Brady. It's always more fun to bet on Tom Brady than to bet against Tom Brady with Tyrod Taylor. Next game, the Arizona Cardinals -2.5 at Chicago. Chicago played Green Bay well, which is surprising because I think Chicago is pretty bad. But maybe they got some. Maybe Adam Gase has got some stuff figured out with Jay Cutler. Maybe he can kind of bring them back a little bit. I don't think so. Though. Cardinals look so good against the Saints, and like I said, they're a sneaky team. They're a sneaky pick team. So I'm going to Cardinals -2.5. An afternoon game, Cowboys +5. They're playing, let's see here on the old ticker. Cowboys are playing Philadelphia. All right? I just talked about this in length. Philadelphia, don't know what to think. Real iffy on them. But Dallas looked good. I think Dallas is a much better team. I'm willing to bet against Sam Bradford. I mean, they're almost giving Dallas 6 points. Well, obviously they're going to 5, but they're almost giving them a touchdown. I don't really understand that. Dallas is going to slow it down. They're going to run the football. Romo versus Bradford. Once again, I'm always going to take the better quarterback. So give me Dallas +5. Sunday night, the revenge game, which is so dumb because every game, every game could be a revenge game. You want to win every game. I don't know why they're saying that, but the Packers against Seattle, Sunday Night Football. Even though the Packers are banged up, I didn't realize this, but the Packers, I think, are the youngest lineup in football, which is crazy because they've been good for so long. To think that they're the youngest team, I mean, if they win the Super Bowl this year as the youngest team, what does that say? You think Seattle's young, But I'm going to go with the Packers -3.5 by the point, by that half point. It could be a close. It could be like a 1-2 point game with that field goal. But trust me, you're going to want that half point if it is a field goal game because this game will be close. This will be a smash. These two teams know each other well. It will be close. By the half point, make it -3. Take the juice hit, whatever. Packers rolling. Hard to imagine St. Louis going 0-2, except me, who said they were going to come back down to earth this year, and they will. Pack -3. Monday night. What a fun game they give us. They give us the Colts, who just lost to the Bills, against the Jets. And I'm not betting on the Jets. One thing I like to do is bet against the Jets and bet against the Browns. So I'm betting against the Jets. Colts -6.5. Don't worry about the half point. Could be a blowout. Andrew Luck is not as bad as he showed against Buffalo. Obviously, he's probably the best quarterback in the league. They're going to smash the Jets, send them back home packing. Guys, this has been another fantastic episode of Out of Bounds. If you're joining me on the podcast version, thank you very much. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or download it, whatever, to get your bi-weekly fill. If you're watching on YouTube and you're new, not sure what you're watching the only simulcast produced solely in a spare bedroom. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you guys very, very much. Again, be safe this weekend. Be safe with your money. Don't drink and drive, whatever you do. This has been a sponsored conversation by me, your best friend. I have been your host, James Skrmetta. Thank you guys again very, very much for listening. Have a great weekend, guys. This has been Out of Bounds.